Well, who says that you can't mix politics and Pilsners? So does it show that you were recording on your end?
I am. Yep.
Is this thing on?
We're live, baby.
Democrats destroy everything they touch.
We need to defend the police, not defund them.
MAGA, it's more than a man. It's a movement. In the 2020 election, free and fair, yes or no?
Absolutely not.
COVID has created a tyrannical government.
This is the only country in the world where those who hate it never leave.
Whether you like Pilsners, bourbons, or anything in between,
grab your favorite beverage and come have a drink with us.
Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Pilsners Politics, episode 28. This is going to be a fantastic episode. It's a little fireside chat with the boys. We got the boys from the Orangemen podcast. Clint, Dave, how are you guys?
Fantastic, doing great. Happy to be with you.
What's going on, Vinny and Ben?
We're doing well, guys. Thanks for coming on. For our listeners, they can't see this right now, but I love the aesthetics behind the podcast, the Orangemen podcast, the symbolic nature that you guys have. Oh, the Abraham Lincoln too. I like it.
The half Trump, half Abraham.
You guys got that scary American flag too, I see.
Yeah, that's people get scared every time they see it.
That racist American flag is
it's unbelievable.
It's wild that people are even going down this path anymore. I don't get it.
It's absolute lunacy. It's liberal lunacy is what I like to refer to it as.
Yep, agreed.
Fellas, I'm curious. What made you guys want to start the show? You guys are absolutely fantastic. You guys are hilarious. I try to watch every single one of your episodes, and I most definitely recommend to our listeners and our followers to follow and listen to you too. What got you guys going?
Well, I got to be honest. I've always been a conservative, always been a Republican, but I was pretty much apolitical because just about anybody you voted for, whatever they said, they never did once they got in office. So I kind of just said, you know what? I'm going to put it in God's hands. I'm going to do my voting and I'm staying out of it. And then this guy, Donald Trump, showed up and he started to, and I didn't like him. Don't get me, I didn't like the guy at all. I didn't like his personality. I didn't like his attitude, but I started listening to him and I'm like, God, this guy's a jerk, but oh my God, he's right. Oh my God, he's telling the truth. I'm like, he's calling these people out. I'm like, wait a minute. What's wrong with this guy? He's going to get himself killed. So I said, man, Donald Trump all the way. So I just started following him and I watched the way he was attacked. And I knew we were on to something with this guy. This guy is, this guy was better than Ronald Reagan. Donald Trump shut everybody down. He called everybody out. When people lied and told stories, he called them out. No politician has ever done that on the Republican side.
Right.
So me and Clint, been friends for a long time. We coach together and, we get together on Friday nights, Saturday nights for years. And we just drink beer and yell at each other about politics. And we just said, you know what? We got to start a podcast. Everybody else is doing it. Why not us? Right. So it was kind of, we do it just kind of, we're not looking to get rich. We're not looking to make money. We're not looking for 10 million followers. It's just kind of a thing for us to just kind of vent and get it all out. And, and to try to find like-minded people. Because in this day and age, all last year, the past 2 years, conservatives have been hiding. I mean, if you wore a Trump hat, you were a racist. If you had an American flag, you were a white supremacist. So everybody kind of laid low, and I thought that was a huge mistake. So here we are. Yeah, that's pretty much the story.
Basically, if you go to Spotify, our first probably 7 to 10 episodes were just on Spotify. We were just sitting on the computer recording audio, and then Dave's like, "Oh, let's put it on video." So. Ever since then,
because everybody needs to see these faces. Right?
Well, no, I think I like the video personally better than the audio because it's the facial expressions and the pounding the beer here and there, just the situations that happen. So it started out with just like he said, like, hey, what do you think about sitting down and we just talk for an hour and a half and voice basically kind of what everybody else is doing now. Like we talk about the week's news, we vent, and
then we're happy. We go on with our week.
It's good if you get likes and subscribes and people are thumbs up and you put. In the end, it's kind of like a free therapy session to put out there, and if if people are watching, they're watching. If not, it helps me.
Yeah, and that there's other people out there who are thinking and saying the same thing you are. They're just not expressing it, right? Yeah. So we've all heard the term the silent majority, mm-hmm. right? They're out there, but it's a majority. They're just silent. After this election, I had said to Vinny, I said, listen, man, The time for silence is over, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Every conservative needs to find their megaphone. They need to find their courage, and they need to speak their truth. And that's the reason that we started our podcast, was basically to help other like-minded conservatives, like you guys, find their courage and speak their truth. Because, again, the time for silence is over.
It's over. Agreed.
We kind of followed the same path. Benji and I would call each other up, and, it seemed like we'd be on the phone for an hour and a half with each other, just bullshitting about, everything from the job to like what's going on in the country. And we finally got to the point where we were like, let's start, making this, a podcast. Actually, Benji kind of came up with the idea first, and I had kind of shared my desire and passion to do something similar. So we kind of traveled a similar path maybe you guys did, and said, we do this for us. Why not make it mainstream and put it out there for everybody to listen to, and hopefully get more people to do the same thing, find their courage, and start to speak their truth.
Yeah, awesome. And I think that's there's a wave since Trump got, since MAGA started. And I think one of you guys even said it, MAGA is not just one man. It's a movement, and we're not going anywhere. I'm not letting these liberals, these Marxist, communist, socialist, whatever you want to call them, not letting them take this country. Not going to let it happen. If they get it, it's going to be, I'm going down with the ship. Well,
everybody's fighting now.
Yeah, this is out of control. It's completely out of control. And I'll tell you right now, if this is their final push, I think, and if they make it, we're doomed. And if they don't, you're going to have another 12 years of Republican presidents. So we're at that tipping point. We're as close to socialism as we've ever been. And quite frankly, it's terrifying. It is terrifying. And I so I got to at least say something. I'm not going to take it like a sheep. It's for damn sure.
Well, it's interesting because you talked about Ronald Reagan earlier, and the big and he was great, right? Up before Trump, but the biggest thing that Trump had to deal with that Reagan never had to was, number one, social media, and always having to answer these clowns on Twitter and on Facebook and everything else. And he didn't have, Ronald Reagan never had that media conglomerate every single day working against him. But he also didn't have to fight against the Democrats at that point in time. They weren't as far left and as progressive as they are now. So not only did he have to fight the media, Trump did, but he also had to fight this far left progressive ideology that's been brewing, in the school systems and all the way up through for X amount of years leading up until now, getting worse through the Obama administration. So yeah, Ronald Reagan, but a lot of people are unable to draw the comparisons. People thought Trump was a jerk, but Ronald Reagan actually used to stick at the people too. He used to call it how it was. I mean, he was part of the Hollywood liberal elite, before he made his jump in politics. It's a very similar trajectory that Trump had, where he finally said, you know what, this is enough. And he went out and stood up to these people. The difference was people didn't have his tweets encapsulated so that they could blast them all over and show people what a jerk he was. But he used to call people out all the time. And it was, it seemed like it was more respected or more put up with at the time. I don't know. I just think it's a difference in circumstances. And honestly, I think Trump had to deal with more bullshit along the way. And I think he did a much better job, honestly.
I absolutely agree. He did a fantastic job. And, but progressive, you mentioned that word progressive. To me, that's a code word or just a liberal word for socialism or communism. I mean, they want communism.
100%.
They want to be the ruling class.
I mean, you just had Joe Biden saying he wants to keep this child tax credit thing going on until like 2025. Like, why are we paying for all this stuff?
Well, because he's reeling
who's paying for it?
No, I know.
He's reeling those dopes
We're
in.
paying for it, but I'm saying, like, everybody's like, yeah, just give us more money, and it's like, no, that's our money. You could have that. You could have that money. Getting back to Trump real quick, like, I was like a Ted Cruz Rubio guy in 2016 because it's not that I didn't like Trump, but I'm like, God, it's Trump. The Apprentice guy, you know what I mean? And I didn't care about the tweets and stuff like that because he talks exactly like everybody else did. And then as I started, like, kind of like what Dave was saying, when I started listening, and I'm like, the wall, I get it. Bringing back manufacturing, it sounds great. You know what I mean? In small of these communities and the Rust Belt and stuff like that, where these factories are shut down and everything, like, where they're like, nah, just send it to China. Like, I get it. Bring it back. You're right. Let's
America
close
first.
up the border.
Right.
And when I started listening to him, and then like even like as you start, this is the sad part that nobody does anymore. And like I said before on one of our podcasts, with these phones now, nobody gives a shit. You can find whatever you're looking for in this right now.
Right here.
You can see Trump from 1981 talking about the same shit he was talking about 2 years ago. But he's always said the same thing. He's always said we're getting raped by this country. We're always saying we're getting China, this, that. These people aren't paying enough for their wage. Why are we, the American taxpayers, the people paying for everybody across this world? And yet everybody's going, yeah, I'm cool with it. But we're really not. It's just kind of like we're saying, the silent majority isn't the big people on the screen anymore. Like, we don't have the voice of the mainstream media. It's the people that are here, like us and, the podcast of the world that really nobody, we're a small minority of people listening, but we're the voices of the regular people.
Right.
That's what people don't realize.
We truly represent like what America's about, right? I mean, it's the average person. It's not the Maxine Waters. It's not the Nancy Pelosi or that douchebag Chuck Schumer in New York. It's people like us, right? The people who are actually plugged in.
Even some of the Republicans that have been there forever. The same thing.
Liz Cheney, Mitch McConnell, Lindsey Graham. Listen, now, I'm here to name them. We need more people like Lauren Boebert, whatever her name is, Madison Cawthorn. Marjorie Taylor Greene. We need more people like that, and less people like Liz Cheney, Mitt Romney, Adam Kinzinger from Ohio. Fuck those people.
Yeah. All right, I like
but it. But it's like you're saying, and it's like when they're selling about the celebrities and stuff like that, like during the course of the 2020, it's like, the left's over there tweeting out like, we have them, they have them, they have Scott Baio, they got, John Boyd. Who cares?
Right.
I don't care. Huh?
We got Lil Wayne.
Well,
Kodak Black.
A couple other guys, you know what I mean? But I don't care what those people say anyway. They're not waking up to go to work at 4 or 5:30 in the morning every day, working 12 hours to come home and go, hey, what's for dinner? Well, I just went shopping at Aldi to make the shit work. You know what I mean? These people all have health care.
I'm sorry, man.
No. They all have health care. They all have money.
You need some cash, dude?
They're not worried. No, but I'm just saying in general, the grand scope of things. Like they don't leave their house because they have butlers, servants, maids.
Right.
You know what I mean? They would go on vacations, lavish resorts. And I just saw a thing with Kendall Jenner, like enjoying her time. That's fine. That's great. But you're not you're not. Listen to you. Why?
She's not the everyman.
You're not even every woman.
She's not the every non-binary.
But people put them up on a pedestal and go, look, we should be like her. No, but you're never going to be like that person. Just be yourself and do the
I don't know. Have you seen my ass?
Do what's best for you and yourself and your family.
Right.
Because you're not going to be those celebrities. It was the same thing in 2016 when Jay-Z and all them were promoting Hillary. Those people don't care who you vote for, whether it's Trump or Hillary, because in the grand scheme of things, the only thing that's going to change is their taxes. They're not worried about what happens.
Well, they're not going to get taxed.
Well,
they're on the ruling side.
They probably enjoy Trump's tax breaks.
Oh, yeah. But
they're actually making extra money. Now Biden's like, we're going to tax out the wazoo.
Biden's coming after them. Well, I warned them.
Yeah, everybody warned them.
I said,
guy's a liar. He's been a liar
Biden
for
takes
47
over.
years.
He's coming for you, too. I don't care who you are.
Well, it's interesting because I don't know if you guys caught the episode, but we interviewed Kristen from Heels and Holsters, and one of the things that I thought was fascinating that she said on the show, she said, I didn't catch COVID, I caught conservatism, because she, outrightly said, before she identified as a liberal, and through everything that's been going on through the COVID years, I mean, she used that time to kind of dig deep and what are some of the issues currently plaguing us. And anybody, that has common sense can tell that the American people are being fleeced. It's just so many people just don't want to believe it. They're so ingratiated with the media that they think that the media, if they put it on the news, that there's no possible way that they could lie to them. And people they don't understand that the media no longer is a non-biased entity. They are completely bought and sold by the Democrat Party. So I thought that was interesting. And I think, even with, like, you guys mentioned Ted Cruz, when they were going through the presidential primaries, I mean, he was somebody that kind of lost a little bit of favor with a lot of people. But I think as you saw the Trump presidency kind of progress, he was somebody that, along with the types like Jim Jordan, where he kind of started to get on like the Trump train a little bit. And then you kind of see people like Marco Rubio kind of stay stagnant. And, those are the people that I obviously don't want to associate with. But I think people like Ted Cruz and the Jim Jordans of the world, I think they finally, towards the end, started to buy into what Trump was selling. So hopefully more people start to understand and start to kind of fall in line with that mentality.
I just want to comment on that real quick. And you had said how, once Trump was really gaining the favor of the American people, right, you had the Ted Cruzes, the Jim Jordans, and they actually, the good conservatives and Republicans, they jumped on board, right? Because they knew that's what the American people wanted. Right. But then you have these other people like, the Liz Cheneys or Adam Kinzinger. Again, this probably wasn't at the time. I'm just throwing him out as an example. But like they fought They fought Trump for the first 2 years, tooth and nail. Yeah. It's like the American people have spoken. This is who we've nominated as our presidential candidate. The entire party, regardless of whether you like the man or not, you need to get behind him and get him across the finish line and help him achieve his goals once he's in office. And they didn't do that. They fought him.
The same way the Democrats do. They hold party line.
John Boehner, Paul Ryan. And why aren't they in office now? Because they fought him tooth and nail for the first 2 years, and they knew they were never going to win re-election again.
Yeah, that's why you like a lot of, I think, who's the guy from PA? Pat Toomey.
Yeah.
He fought, like, he's another one. Like, I'm not running for re-election. Because that like you just said, they all know. Getting back to Ted Cruz,
well, Trump was going to take the gravy train away.
Yeah,
exactly.
And they knew it, and they were part of the swamp.
Yep.
Yes.
Republican or not, they were rhinos. They were part of the Republican swamp.
Definitely the uniparty.
And they were going to lose their power, and they knew Trump was going to take it from them, and that's why they fought it. I didn't see it early on, but when I never seen a president that vilified, that demonized. I mean, they called him Hitler like it was nothing.
Right.
And I said, and my
dictator Hitler.
Yeah, and my belief system is, if some people don't hate you, you ain't doing something right.
Right.
So, and when everybody hated Trump, I'm like, damn, this dude must be doing something right.
Well, he's scaring everybody. He was scaring everybody.
I mean, that swamp was getting drained, and it almost got emptied.
And the irony, right?
He almost
calling him
there.
Hitler. Now you see, Biden talking about how they're going to go around with their army of people to make sure everyone got the stab in the arm, right?
Yeah.
Can you imagine if Trump said that he was going to bring people door to door to your house? The left would be up in arms.
I mean, it was just earlier where I saw Lori Lightfoot's like asking Joe Biden for help to, send in some federal troops. Where last year she's like, "Don't you dare send in federal troops into our city. We're not having that." And it's like, "Hey, I need your help." 90. And I know I posted it like it wasn't white supremacists. It wasn't domestic terrorists that were shooting up, in the heartland of Chicago. You know what I mean? Who is it?
Right. It's the gang. It's the gangs.
Well, it's the community that they're trying to protect, but yet they don't really care. I don't know how to transfer. Like I sent David. Like did you guys watch Boys in the Hood back in the movie Boys in the Hood?
This guy's a movie hound.
Well, there's a point where Furious. Who's the dad? I got a clip on our YouTube. I'll play it later because I got it on. We'll end up playing it, but where he talks about like why there's a gun shop, a liquor store, because they don't really care about that community. And still, that was in 1991 that this movie by I think it was John Singleton was made. It's still the same way now, right. And yet nobody wants to wake up in like Baltimore. Did you watch The Wire? Great show.
Yeah, but
the city's still the same.
Not only that, you could argue it's worse. The school systems are worse. Like the crime.
I'm just saying. Like,
I know. It's
that's from like 2001. This show, and it's like probably you're right. It's probably worse than it ever. Worse now.
Yeah.
I'm going to Jensaki back to Lori Lightfoot real quick.
Yes. Circle it back.
So it truly goes to show that these people are willing to destroy their own cities to save face. Is that what they're doing? To save face? You're willing to destroy your city because you're not willing to accept help from a Republican president. Awesome. You truly care about your constituents.
Yeah, that's insanity.
I don't know, and I don't understand how she's still the mayor. Like, how any of these, like, how Cuomo, like, all the shit that happened with him just brushed aside. Gavin Newsom, there's the recall vote. It's going to happen in September, but he's like, we got to check every person's signature and IDs.
Yeah, now they want to.
You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't make sense to me.
Well, listen, I make it a habit to at least watch 5 minutes of CNN every night, just so I know what these people are doing.
Yeah, you should.
And I challenge the liberals that I know to just, you watch that Fox News, you're crazy, something's wrong with you. I go, just give it 5 minutes. 5 minutes. I give CNN 5 minutes because it's all I can stomach. 5 minutes. It's bizarre. Just last night, I turned on CNN and they had 3 people on, and the only thing they could talk about was the voting laws that are getting changed in several states, and all they said was, this is just to stop black people from voting. Period. I'm like, really? That's your argument, to stop black people from voting? And then they were trying to say black people are the ones who got Biden elected. And the African American or the black community in this country is like 17%. How did they get anybody elected? But to come out and call us racist because we want a legal vote is insane. Let's have a conversation. And that's the other thing that got me thinking. They won't talk to you. Anytime I see a liberal on the street yelling and screaming and I try to talk to them, F you, F you, F you. That's all they got.
That's all they know.
F you, F you.
How many trolls do you get come onto your page just to name call you, demean you, degrade you, but they don't want to have civil discord.
No.
Listen, and I try to stay really polite with them. Like, hey, listen, I'm
do with
happy
everybody.
I'm happy to listen to your opinion, right? I'm not here to change your mind. It's funny how you don't want to have that same type of conversation with me. You just want to come over, call me a racist, call me a white supremacist, and then go away.
Yeah,
I had somebody on our Instagram page. I don't know who it was. He went like off on like 5. This was like 2-3 months ago, like 5 or 6 different posts, and like I put on like we had a removal of a deleted video on YouTube, and like it was all this shit. And I'm like, dude, thanks for engaging. You know what I mean? Thanks for following. Like, and every time he posted something, I would post under like, thanks. You know, it was glad to have you. And then finally, he like posted like something on like he was like, because the Red Friday thing I do every Friday, I try to post it. He's like, fuck the military, fuck black to blue. I was like, oh, you're deleted. And then he got in my DMs and he's like, you're gonna block me, you pussy. I was like, dude, you can say whatever you want on other shit, but you're gonna cross the line at some point to where I'm gonna be like, listen, however you feel is fine, but I'm gonna make a stand at some point. You know what I mean? Talk shit to me, talk shit about our pictures or videos. That's fine, but don't.
Stop clogging my feet, asshole. You keep showing up.
I don't care about that, but it was like...
Little do these people know, they actually help out the algorithm, right? Because they're commenting on a post. So I generally like to hit them with a, hey, listen, feel free to give us a like, share, and bookmark on your way out.
Yeah. Well, he was private, so I was like, stay private, bro. And he's like, what do you mean? I'm like, dude, I can't see what nonsense you're posting because you're private. He's like, well, follow me. I'm like, I don't care. And he's like, well, F you. I'm like, whatever.
Nerd.
Do you guys ever get a chance to talk to liberals or somebody on the fence or anything like that?
So I've got somebody lined up pretty soon. He's a liberal because again we want to have this civil discord, right? This civil discourse. We don't like. I try not to attack anybody because I want to hear what you think. And again, I'm not trying to change your mind. I might be just planting those seeds, right, for further down the road
to go look into stuff.
Yeah, that's it.
People need to hear both sides.
I agree.
I talk to liberals every day. I'm in upstate New York, so every single day, I have the unpleasant...
Just smashing your head against the wall.
Yeah, pretty much. Having to deal with Cuomo and everything he's done to this state.
Guys, that's what's so crazy right now is like we've become so polarized as a nation, right? And we talked about this in episode 25, I believe. I think it was A Nation Divided. We had Chris Prudhomme on, who's a Fox News contributor. And, we were just talking about how far the parties have shifted from the center. And there's an Instagram page called Unwoke Narrative. I don't know if you guys follow it. They're absolutely fantastic. They actually showed a graph of like how far it's moved since like the 60s. And the left has moved extremely far from center. And the right, maybe a little bit from center.
Yeah.
But nobody's willing to have the conversations anymore. But why? Why?
Well, I can tell you. Their policy is socialism and communism and racism at the moment. Calling people white supremacists and racists is working for them right now. So they don't need an argument.
Right.
This is right out of Saul Alinsky's playbook. The
100%.
Call people a racist because they don't agree with you. You have no factual data to back up anything you're saying, so just call them a racist and try to end the conversation there. And that is usually what scares people. I mean, that's what scared people into speaking out about their positions at their jobs and the fear that they will get called and labeled a racist and they'll end up getting fired. And we talked about cancel culture a lot on this show. But that's the reality of it. And it's working 100%.
Yeah. Well, listen, I worry about it too. In our job, we put our faces out there and, it crosses my mind every now and then someone can come across it. And next thing you know, I'm out of work.
We don't say anything ridiculous.
Wait, not only that, but like where are you willing to draw the line, right? And I think that's what a lot of people have to come to terms with, right? Where is your line in the sand? Are you willing to silence? Are you willing to suppress your morals just to collect a paycheck? And again, we talked about that on episode 26 with Bevelin Beatty. It's where do you draw that line? And I'm with you, Dave. I'm not going to sit around all these people. while these people destroy our country. I'm not doing it.
These savages.
I'm not doing it.
Yeah.
Come on, it is what
Listen,
it is.
I don't begrudge anybody who's concerned about their livelihood and taking care of their family. If you got to keep your face hidden, brother, amen to you. God bless you. I'm okay with that. What I'm not okay with is the reason you have to do it. And that's why if I think I can come out and speak for you, God damn it, I'm going to do it. So
right, because if you were Vinny, if you were out there flying a BLM flag every weekend, nobody would say shit to you.
I would be the new poster. I would be the poster child of my current employer. They'd be like, "Look at this guy. He's so woke. We love it."
I can only imagine who your employment might be from, but
want to know.
I'll let it go.
Oh, I've made no bones about it. I'm in law enforcement.
I know.
But they exactly we have more in common, obviously, with the folks that share our interests, but I don't dare speak about them, right? And even management knows that that's true. But yeah, if I was out there and if I was flying the BLM flag and talking about how great of a guy George Floyd was, and how much I love transgender people, right? And if I threw the pronouns in my email at work, they'd probably promote me tomorrow.
Yeah, that's sad.
Yeah,
that's true.
Captain Vinny.
That's it.
Well, listen, my question to people, like I see people back when it was mask time, but masks are coming back. I can guarantee that.
100%.
But they wore their BLM mask or had their BLM shirt on. I would ask them, why do you think your life doesn't matter? Why would you think that? Why would you let anybody tell you your life doesn't matter? Why would you think you have to march down the street telling me your life matters? That's the problem. Who are you listening to think your life doesn't matter?
Well, the big people on the TV tell me that I need to go out and be active. And it's like, all right, that's fine.
It's a shame. It's communism at its best.
Yeah, I kind of want to shift this conversation toward the whole Marxist, the cultural Marxist movement that's going on in America right now, because honestly, I truly think, I don't even think, I truly believe that it is the biggest threat that's facing us as a republic. I tell anybody who will listen to me, you guys absolutely have to read Rules for Radicals by Saul Alinsky, because that is the playbook that these people are using today. Just read the book. I think it's 19 rules, and every single one of them they use in the summer of 2020. And now we have an issue with CRT in the classroom. So I'm from the DC, Northern Virginia area, and Loudoun County is in the news all the time because they are huge proponents of CRT. And I've said it once, I'll say it again. These modern day Marxists in America know that the normal or the original Marxist movement will never work here, right? Because there'll never be a class warfare where there's a haves and a haves nots. So what they're doing is they're creating a whole new proletariat and bourgeoisie. And the bourgeoisie is now the white male or the white person, and the new proletariat is, anybody of color, whether that's, a black trans, a black person, Asian or Hispanic. And that's how they're trying to dismantle this country. And they've been doing it since the 60s. And probably even before that.
Yeah, Hillary
it's coming to fruition.
She named him.
Yeah, Saul Alinsky was her mentor.
Yeah, I think she wrote her thesis on him.
Yes, exactly. I think did she invite him to her college graduate something? I don't know if he was alive. I don't know, but she was really involved when it comes to Saul Alinsky, and it's, I forget where I saw it, but it's scary, and that everybody just kind of turned their back to that.
It's terrifying.
Well, it's all about
because they want to be taken care of. But and they also want to be taken care of. It's the power for the government, sure, but they also want you to rely on them, which we don't. There's a lot more, like we said about the majority. The majority is there that don't want to rely on the government. It's just the minorities, like.
Well, this generation's pretty bad too. I mean, I have kids. I have kids that are between 20 and 30, and my biggest regret in life was working my ass off to send my kids to college. Yeah. I wish I never did it.
I thank God I joined the military, to be honest with you.
Yeah. You know what? Like Israel, I think everybody in this country should do 2 years minimum.
I agree.
Right out of high school.
I think it gives you a certain level of like self-respect for your country, right? Like, I'm going to sacrifice something for me because the people who came before us, look what they sacrificed to give us what we have today, right? Yeah. And now this generation, and I'm almost embarrassed to say I'm part of it, right?
No offense, but this generation has been pretty bad.
Well, how old? What do you mean? How old are you?
I'm 34. So
Yeah, you're there. Well, you're probably not. Well, obviously you didn't take part in the generation, but
No.
A lot of these kids are, my oldest son is 30 and he's one of those, he became a super liberal. I mean, he was a Sanders guy and he's lazy, doesn't want to work. He thinks he should be getting $1,000 a week.
Everybody wants that UBI.
Yeah, I can't even, I love the kid, love him to death. I don't like him at all. And he's my son. It's painful.
But the problem is the indoctrination camps that we keep sending our kids to.
I know.
That you worked hard to pay for.
It used to be exclusive to the universities, higher education. Here it is now in grade school.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, they worked their way in.
I mean, you look back at getting back to movies and stuff, and it's all it's all. I know he gets mad, but you always had the liberal teacher in whatever college movie you're watching, and they're preaching this, and this, and it's kind of like what we're saying. Everything's kind of like a pre-programming. I guess it's all right. They talk about it in that movie, or
not Sam Kinison in Back to School.
Well, yeah, he wasn't that guy, but the arts teacher that was giving giving Dangerfield a hard time, he was the liberal guy. You know what I mean? I can't believe this guy's having a party.
Well, it's interesting because the latest thing on social media and in the news right now seems to be, this push that some of the conservatives have made to say, hey, let's start putting cameras in classrooms and making teachers wear body cameras. But they are adamantly against it.
Yeah.
We've been saying that since the inception of the show. If you go back through our Instagram, we've been saying that.
They don't want you to see what's really going on in school.
It's you being in law enforcement. It's the same thing with that. Everybody wanted body cameras so you can see what actually happens. Now it's you see that what's happening, and it's no. But that's not the way it happened. It's clearly the video shows you the guy did what he did, or in certain situations, I get it. Some may be worse than others, but the body camera's there. You had a knife that just going back to that one girl. She had a knife. Clearly, you're protecting her. If she would have stabbed, there would have been a cop had his body camera on, and he didn't do enough to stop the other girl from stabbing the other girl.
Yeah,
it doesn't.
Right. Well,
you can't have it both ways. But I appreciate the video stuff and the teach, even if it's a camera in the corner.
Yeah.
What's she saying? The Arizona audits. That's how they should have every classroom in your township.
100%.
Just live stream.
I agree.
Live stream for 16 hours a day.
Yep.
I want to see what you're doing.
Going back to that chick who was trying to stab her friend, the cop shot her. You remember that news pundit who was like, "Oh well, that's just kids being kids. He shouldn't have shot her. Yeah. Kids have knife fights all the time."
Yeah,
I've never been in a knife fight.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe when the Greasers and the Socias back in the day when Dave was growing up.
Well, we used to dance.
We
used to dance off. Yeah,
the Jets.
Stupid. Listen, I my heart goes out, and I'm to the police and everything they go through. Vinny, you got my support. I applaud you. I don't know how you do it. I mean, you guys
especially in this day.
Yeah, you guys have to think and make decisions at a split second. And I don't think people understand how difficult that is when you're rushing to a scene, your adrenaline's going, you don't know who's got what and who's going to do what, where, and when. It's a difficult job, and I have the highest amount of respect and can't thank you enough.
Well, I appreciate
to
that.
you and all the police out there.
You're welcome, and thank you for the support.
My glass is empty, but cheers.
But even with the socialism, kind of round back out, everybody wants free healthcare. It's not free college. Joe's I'll wipe out debt, and he didn't do it, and everybody's like, well, maybe next time. You know what I mean? They're not grasping that this government's not going to do what you kind of thought he was going to do, and they just wanted your vote. And
they're young.
And they stole. No, I know. Well, it's not just young people.
When I was young, I thought that too. I was.
You got people your son, 30 years old, talking about please to wipe out $10,000. You're not going to do it.
When I was
I got
to
go to work.
When I was a kid, I couldn't have been more than 6 or 7, and they were talking politics at the
table
at the bar cafe. It was like a restaurant. Grab me a beer out of there.
I am.
It was like a restaurant cafe kind of a thing, like a diner, and we were all sitting at the bar, and they were talking politics, and they were screaming Democrat, Republican. And I asked my dad, I go, Dad, what's a Democrat and a Republican? He goes, Democrats are for the poor, and the Republicans are for the rich. And I said, oh, what are we? He goes, oh, we're Democrats. And from that day on, I believed I was poor.
Right.
What kind of thing is that to tell your kid?
Well, that leads into all the
so I was always a poor Democrat. I was taught to hate the rich. And thank God I woke up eventually and realized that I wanted to be rich. I wanted to be successful, and I wasn't going to do it being a poor Democrat sitting around feeling sorry for myself. And in school, we don't teach kids we don't really teach them self-esteem. Giving everybody a trophy isn't teaching them how to deal with. Listen, and now all our kids are on drugs now because they don't know how to deal with a problem or a situation that doesn't go their way. And we coddle them, and they grow up to be liberals. It's our fault.
Yeah, and it's they don't understand. They repackage and they dress some of these things up as something that they're not. I mean, they don't understand.
Yeah, every couple of years.
It's the stimulus checks, during COVID. Where's all this coming from, right? So they've sent out 3 or 4 now, and it's like now we're seeing inflation rise and we're seeing all these things. Now it's okay, the money's going to come due. I was saying this from the very beginning. It's a bad idea. Why? Because somebody's going to have to pay for that, and it's going to be us. It's just we thought we got something for free, and now look, they're going to raise the corporate tax code, that they're going to make it harder for these companies and these bigger businesses to hire more people. So it's going to cause layoffs. People are going to lose their jobs, or the price of the consumer good is going to go up. So now when I go to Dunkin' Donuts, like I just did today, to get a large coffee, I paid almost $3.50 for it. I mean, I could not believe that my coffee cost $3.50. Like, I'm sitting there thinking about it.
You thought you were at Starbucks,
right? Exactly. But people don't understand that, like, you're going to have to pay for this stimulus check, and you're going to have to pay more than what you actually got. And they just don't understand. They just want everything for free, and they don't get it.
It's not even going to fall on to us, though. I mean, we're going to be gone by the time this money's paid off. What are we at? Almost $6.5 trillion right now between the 3 or whatever else he's trying to pay off now. Like, that's going to be like my youngest daughter's 13. Like, she's going to end up being like, I don't get a check anymore. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. Well, they want to do like somebody said as high as $7 trillion on this next.
$7 trillion total.
Yeah,
it's bizarre. It's bizarre. We are quite literally selling the rope that China's going to hang us with.
Yes.
Well, people don't realize it either. Like, you know what I mean? Like, they don't realize that if this, and I said this on a whatever episode, but
yeah, you're pretty good at knowing your episode numbers. That was pretty impressive. Episode 25. I don't know what I talked about yesterday.
If this country falls as America, if this is the last, like, if this falls as whatever it is that we have here, and people are like, yeah, F America. People here say that are in our own country. They don't realize how good they actually have it. And if it actually falls into the way they want it, it's going to be dreadful. And, you don't want to live in an occupied situation.
Well, I think one of you guys said this is the country where the people who hate it the most never leave.
Yeah.
Is that one of you guys?
Yeah, probably. I think a lot of people have started to say that now, too. But, yeah, it's true.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
How many people did we hear when Trump got elected say that they're moving to another country? All these Hollywood elites that said that they were leaving, they all ended up staying and being more of a pain in the ass.
Yeah, I would have paid for some of them to go, to be honest with you.
Yeah, no doubt. What I think a bigger problem is like this younger generation doesn't truly understand the difference between capitalism and cronyism.
Okay.
Because that's what's going on. It's like capitalism is a fantastic economic system. What happens is you get these people who are greedy, who are giving capitalism a bad name, but that's not capitalism. That's the whole globalist agenda.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I've always been happy just to have. The reason why I love this country is because everybody and anybody can make it if you want to. And part of making it, part of the process of making it is failing.
Yes.
Failing is a part of it. And if we don't learn how to fail and grow from those failures, we're never going to make it. And we need to teach our kids that expect to fail sometimes, but it's okay. Get up, brush yourself off, learn from it, move on.
Have an idea and let it grow.
But they're like, oh, why would I want to do that? It's so hard. I could just hold my hand out.
Well, if you listen to our
some people are happy with nothing.
Yeah. Well, and if you listen to our last episode with Bevel and Beatty, she brought up a very good point. She said, look at these guys like T.I., the Rubber Band Man, and Jay-Z's of the world that used to sell dope and still sell drugs, and they probably still do, even though they're millionaires and billionaires. But the thing is like these guys, they came from nothing, and they were in this society that that they claim now, and they'll tell everybody else and all their followers is just doing nothing but holding them down and holding them back from prosperity.
Yeah.
Yet they're the same ones that benefited from it and had the opportunities to grow the empires that they currently have today. So, but the irony is the Jay-Z's of the world, the T.I.'s of the world, all these other guys that have made it, they don't want the rest of their people to make it, right? Because then it's almost like, I don't know what it is. Maybe it's a jealousy
taken away
thing.
From theirs.
Exactly. So they've made it. Now it's like now it's just them and it's everybody else, right? So they don't want to level the playing field and make it easier for everybody else to have that same sort of prosperity.
You know how many people in Southeast DC have 10 cars? None.
None. Like LeBron James.
He should be doing more.
He should be.
Yeah, but the only thing he can come out and say is, we're tired of being hunted.
Yeah.
That's the most irresponsible statement I've ever seen and I've ever heard, and nobody called him out on that. That's not happening.
That's when you say hunted by who? Hunted by your own people or hunted by the police?
Right.
It's unbelievable.
Right. Hunted by their own people in Chicago, where they're getting killed in the
Vinny,
roads.
you might know because
it's sad.
You might know because you're within the community. How many law enforcement officers have died just this year alone within the line of duty? You know what I mean? Like,
I'll look it up right now as we speak. I'll go to ODMP.
It's well over. I looked probably in I saw a thing in April, May. It was well over 150.
And it's more so. I can tell you, it's more than any unarmed.
I'm sure it's
black,
probably more than that now.
It's more than any unarmed black kids in the year of 2021 have been.
That's my point.
And I'll say this: it's indiscriminate of color. So. It's not just white male cops that have been shot and killed.
Yeah.
It's white female cops. It's black female cops. It's black cops.
Yeah.
It's everybody in between. It's people that identify as female cops. It might be male. I mean, it's literally indiscriminate of who they are behind the badge.
But just because you're law enforcement, you have a risk at being anything. Listen, if you're a criminal and you do criminal activity, chances are, if you get pulled over, you might get in trouble.
Let me ask you a question.
You know what I mean? It's what you signed up for.
How many black unarmed men were shot and killed by the police who complied?
I don't know.
Zero.
Right.
Zero.
Probably not.
So, if you have a problem with the police, and listen, not all police are perfect, and some of them do bad things and make bad decisions, and so you comply, and then you complain afterwards. File a complaint afterward, but do exactly what he tells you to do. Listen, I'm an old white guy. If I get pulled over by the police, it's yes, sir, no, sir. What do you need from me? How can I help? Every single time. And it's because I know how tough his job is. And, when he pulls me over at 3 o'clock in the morning because I'm speeding on the way to work, and he approaches my car from the passenger side, it's dark. He doesn't know who the hell I am. He doesn't know. So, and I'm going to make sure he sees everything clearly because he doesn't know who I am, and I'm not going to give him any reason to
speeding drunk driver heading off to.
Well, I might have a weapon or anything. I'm not going to, So if everybody just did that, we'd be fine.
And to give it a little perspective too, is like the police officers don't stop people; they stop vehicles.
Right, exactly.
I will say, I'm sure if you know a certain individual who's a troublemaker, you might be like, let me stop this guy today to see what's going on.
Yeah.
Because I know my friend, my friend had a bad name and we got hurt. It was just them being busting balls when we were 18, 19, and 20. But they knew his car and they would pull us over. You mind if we search the vehicle? He's like, yeah, dude, whatever. Do your thing. But I'm sure.
Well, you guys were trouble. They had every reason to pull you.
But what I'm saying is, if you know the person, you had interactions with people, they know why you're pulling them over because they've done criminal activity or they've had a drug warrant or they've got caught with drugs before. It's not just some random person who has a bad registration or a taillight out or a headlight out.
Well, I was speeding.
No, or speeding for that, or you rolled a stop sign, you know what I mean? Like, I'm sure within your community, whatever job, whatever beat you run, you're like, I know this guy, I know that guy, you know what I mean? You may not deliberately pull him over because of that, but you're like, we'll try.
Yeah.
Pretextual stop.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's what they call it in the business.
That's the one thing I loved about Live PD. I don't know if you guys ever watched it, but
love it.
Those guys in Richland, South Carolina, they were great. They knew everybody in the community, they knew who was who, and they're like, all right, I saw you last week.
And you know what?
I'm pulling you over.
And there's a reason why that show's not on TV anymore.
No, I know.
And it's sad because it gave again, it was another, checks and balance, if you will, where it showed people the ugly side, right? It showed people how ruthless and nasty some of these savages in our community really are. And that's the underbelly of what the Democrats don't want you to see. That's like, it's just like when the body cams first came out. ACLU shortly thereafter said, you know what? That's kind of an invasion and perversion of people's privacy. So it's no different. Live PD was an up close, in your living room perspective of, what society really is like when you step outside of your, suburban home. And
it also put a lot of positive light on the police at the time.
Which goes against everything they're trying to do.
Right, exactly.
So
across many states. It wasn't just like one state where it's like, oh, this is a great sheriff's department. It was from Texas on through to like everywhere.
Notice New York,
Nevada.
Notice New York was never really on there. I don't think they were ever on there once. Interesting.
Yeah, I think Philly had one episode, I think. Yeah. And it was lame. It's pretty lame.
Well, it's the same reason why Cops was one of the longest standing running shows. People
love to watch.
Yeah.
If you get a chance, you check out Court Cam. That's a pretty good one too. Get to see the dregs of society.
Fellas, we got to wrap it up here in a second.
Okay.
If you had to give our followers, our listeners, a piece of advice or send them a message, what would you tell them, Clint? And then I'll go to Dave.
It's okay to be American.
Yeah, just hang in there.
Wear it loud and proud. There's nothing wrong. This is the greatest country on the planet, and be proud to be American. We are not who they say we are, and let's not let them get away with it.
I do believe we are on the right side of the movement, because who doesn't want to sing the pledge of, the national anthem, wave American flags, and have a joyous good time? Every time I watch somebody else on the other side of their gatherings, it's like, fuck it, they're so hatred, and it's like, who wants to live like that every day or on the weekend? Like, I like enjoying myself on the weekend, getting together with friends, having a good time, having a fire pit, drink a couple of beers, whatever, listen to some good music. I don't want to sit there going, the country's terrible, I like the direction we're in now, but I'm not.
We don't want to waste our time being angry.
Yeah.
But the one thing I've noticed, that I've got a whole new love and respect for my country now that I sit here. I might have taken it for granted a little bit in the past, but now that I watch these savages come after our country the way they are, I have a whole new respect for the United States of America.
Vinny's weird.
Yeah.
I appreciate it.
I like it.
Yeah, so I got a whole new respect for this country, and I don't want to lose it.
I got a new T-shirt idea. Stop the savages.
There you go.
With the cup logo on the shoulder.
I don't know, you could say savages.
Well, we can call them like non-binary cannibals or something like that.
That's pretty wordy.
Well, listen, I do love all this woke stuff. It is funny. You got to admit, it's hysterical.
Yeah.
All right. Hey, listen, guys. I appreciate you guys coming on the show. It's been great. It's been a fantastic fireside chat.
Yes, thank you very much.
I hope we can do it again.
Yeah, looking forward to it, and I'll have better mics next time, I promise. Okay, listen, guys, appreciate your service, both of you. It's been a pleasure, and God bless America.
Stay safe out there. Yeah. And it's okay to be American.
Okay.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for coming on. You guys keep doing your thing and keep speaking the truth.